Okay, here we go again. I don't even know if it's bright now. Okay, oh god, here we go. This is the problem again. Trying to get in position. Okay. Hi, my name is Sam Eastcott. I feel like I should do it. And I'm 22. God, I always forget that I'm 22 and I have to think about it beforehand. And I'm hoping, not hoping, I keep using the wrong words. I'm going to be the owner and founder of the startup Eye of Iris. What is Eye of Iris? Eye of Iris is a brand that, for me, has developed a lot since the first idea. I first got the idea when I was shopping with my mum. I was 18, and my mum has always had amazing clothes. She's always spent a little bit more, and she's had clothes for 20, 30, 40 years that I wear now. And I was like, oh, where'd you get that from? I'm like, oh, my mum's wardrobe. And that's always the thing when your mum's got better dress sense than you. Always. So as a young adult, when I come into that, I always went into my mum's wardrobe. I did as a kid. I always used to walk around in her high heels that were like, 10 sizes too big at the time. But as an adult, she had Pepe jeans, she had Salsas, she had Levi's, the top dogs of the jean industry. And she still has them now, and they fit her now. But the thing is, what I noticed was they didn't fit me. I'm 22. My mum's, I won't say she's older than me. She doesn't look it, but we've been known to be sisters, which is amazing for her, questionable for me. But yeah, they don't fit me, and that, you can imagine, like, I just think I look at them, I put them up against me, and I'm like, it's my waist size. And then, they are long. My mum's got longer legs than me. The joys of, I don't know what happened at childbirth, I don't know what's happened in life, but I stopped growing at 13, and I've been very complacent since. So yeah, I went shopping with my mum at 18, and I went into House of Fraser in Cardiff. And at the time, House of Fraser was the place, before all of this, it was the place to get the nice stuff. I didn't really go into, there was flannels, but that's a different ball game. House of Fraser, they stocked Lee, they stocked Levi's, Pepe, Salsas, Diesel. So the sort of brands, and I remember picking up my size in like 3 different brands, I think it was, and I tried on the first pair and I couldn't get them on. I literally could not get them on, and when I mean, like, they got to here, and I was like, I can't believe this. Like, I've always wanted a pair of these jeans. I've seen my mum have them for years. And I was like, I can't get into them. I was like, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my body. Like, I struggled, I've always struggled to get into clothes, being deemed a size 8, but then finding out that I can fit into size 10, 12s, 14s. That messes with your head. I think already there's such a thing with body dysmorphia that we all have. And we all learn it. Why we learn it, I don't know. It's an irrelevant emotion, to be honest with you. And it diminishes so much of our confidence and our self-confidence. But yeah, it's just something you get, don't you? Especially in women, I think. I don't know. I think that's the wrong thing to say, because, men's magazines really promote a lean body. But it's the same with women, and I hate this time of year because all you see is try this diet. And if you look back at Roman gladiators who had the best diet in the Roman Empire, they were plant eaters. I'm not saying that a plant eater diet is the best one, I'm just saying that you do you. But there's so much evidence now to prove different diets work. Just find out what works for you. Just eat what you want. Just don't overeat. I mean, that's the thing. But I digress. So yeah, I was 18, tried to buy a pair of jeans, cried. Really, really upset with myself because I felt like I was wrong because I couldn't fit into them. And then I just kind of like went, wait a minute, why am I wrong? Why is my body the wrong body for these jeans? All they promote is, you know, tall, blonde, thin, like, and I tell you what, these thighs don't lie. You know, they won't squeeze into jeans, you know, and I compromise and I go for stretch denim, but like, after so many times you wear them and you wash them, when you wash them all the time, because you get any stain on them and you've just got to chuck them in the wash, and they absorb your sweat really easily, don't they? You know, they absorb body fluids, I say. Yeah, I mean, you can see the wrinkles on the elastic, you know, and I don't want that. I wanted, you know, after seeing these Levi's and the Pepe, the quality after 20 years, I wanted them. Maybe that's just me being a bit spoiled, but it really frustrated me that I felt like my body was wrong, and that I was the problem. So I just had this idea that I was like, nah, that's not going to happen anymore. What can I do to change that? And it's just been a process of ideas, to be honest. It was, how do I create a pair of jeans that fit different body types, that doesn't actually impact the environment? Because what I found was, when I started looking, I was like, bloody hell, the denim industry is actually pretty shit. It actually is ridiculous how much water it uses. I think it's like from start to finish, if you include the growing of the cotton, to the wash of the fibres, to the wash of the fabric, to the wash afterwards, it's 20,000 litres of water they use for one pair of jeans. Sorry, just the hands are coming out. For one pair of jeans, and that's mad. So I was thinking, well, I don't want to make more jeans. I just want jeans to be available. So eventually come to the idea, and it's all a matter of now actually getting some shit done. You know, this was something I wanted to do a year ago, but obviously the pandemic just was like, no, it's not your time. And that's fair enough. I think things in life happen for a reason, and I've learned so much in the last year that I think, oh my god, if I'd tried to enter the market then, I would have I think I would have been drowning before I'd even started. You know, knowledge is key to these things, but so are mistakes, I think. I always learn so much from my mistakes, and I make a lot of them. That's probably why I make so many mistakes, is because I need to learn how to fall on my face before I start running again. Yeah, it's like when you ride a bike, isn't it? You know, when you fall off. Alright, that's how I fall. It's learning what not to do, and I always find that that's the best way. For me, anyway, but maybe I'm a bit dyslexic. I've always been a little bit backwards, but that's fine with me. You know, that's sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, iVirus actually started off by the name of East 98. I thought this was an amazing name to start with, and then I talked to my lecturer, because I'm a third year student, and I pitched the idea to him in my second year, so over a year ago now, and he kind of went, and I was like, what's wrong? And he's just like, yeah, I'm not fond of that. Well, and I was alright, okay, I get the hint. So, you know, I went with my mum then, and my mum is kind of my ideas woman. As, you know, your mum's never wrong. Sometimes she is. And sometimes I will get an apology. Very rare. Very rare. Yeah, I kind of had a brainstorming day. I don't know where we'd gone. We were in Harvester, literally, which is like, I'd never really been there before. We're just sitting down. I was like, right, I've got my notepad. I need to think of a name. It's got to be empowering. It's got to be fresh. All these buzzwords that were coming into mind. And when we were away one time, we decided that flowers, I think, were going to be sort of around the branding. Because flowers are, you know, they are great. Oh my god, they're great. No, there's so many meanings behind flowers. I think we went to an art exhibition. This is where it came from. We went to an art exhibition, and there was this huge tapestry across the entire church. I think we were in Tallinn in Estonia, and this church underground had actually been bombed in World War II, and there was just this huge archive that was recovered from like the Nordic 16th century, I think, and all the flowers in it had meanings of different strength, prosperity, empowerment, and we kind of put the two and two together and thought that I quite like this, you know, and as a brand that wants to start off directing towards women, I felt like this was just a good way to subconsciously promote normality and just body equality. I think for so many of us, like I was saying, body dysmorphia is just like ingrained into us, and it's probably the worst thing that comes out of media and fashion. You know, I just want anyone to be part of this brand, to be honest, at this point. At any point, really, from the start to the finish. It's eye-opening when you study it to see how brands have specific images and how they actually manifest their brand sometimes around that image that they promote. And that's something something I want to do, but something that is a realistic point of view, you know. But yeah, so flowers became the idea for it, and then while we were brainstorming, I said I think it has to have a reference to flowers in it, and this list was huge. We were just going off different things. So East 98, East being an abbreviation of my last name, and then 98 the year I was born. And I thought, oh, that's edgy, that's cool. No, I can't believe I was going to go with that. But yeah, so Eye of Iris, it just kind of came. I was like, oh, I always draw eyes. I don't know why. I've always drawn them since I was like 16, maybe younger. I used to doodle a lot in my classes, and it would always be an eye. I'm no better at drawing now than I was then. But yeah, an eye was something I always drew, and I was like, the eye. My mum would say the eye is the window to the soul. I was like, oh, that's good. You know, when you're buying a pair of jeans, especially with the brand Eye of Iris, I don't want you to buy a pair of jeans thinking in your head, I'm a size 8. And then the size guide says you're not. No, I want you to be your own size, your own body, and embrace your own body. I don't want you to be discouraged by a size at all. You know, and you can't lie to yourself when you buy these jeans, because lying to yourself is not being who you are. So the eye is the window to the soul, and that's the only way you can, you know, for me, be truthful in this context. But yeah, so, and obviously an iris has an eye. Oh god. and I. So I kind of, we brought it down to Forsaken Nymph, which I quite like now actually, which was my mum's idea, and then Eye of Iris was my own idea. And I did a poll, listened to the people, and the people spoke. Eye of Iris won. So that was where that came from. And yeah, the brand is just here to challenge, I suppose. It's to do what isn't out there. You know, I think my biggest frustration is inequality and just being taken for a mug. You know, the industry says what it says about being sustainable, being ethical, and all this new change. But at the end of the day, I don't always see that. You know, it's so much greenwashing. I don't know who to believe sometimes, unless they lay it on thick and their entire concept is we are sustainable, this is why we are, and they show you their entire supply chain. Of course I'm going to believe them. But you know, H&M saying, oh, we've got a new range. Do I believe it? Maybe. Not really. Do I still buy from them? Sometimes. Not all the times. If I had my choice, I would never buy from them. But convenience is a bitch. You know, we live in a world where we need to have things now. And that frustrates me because you'll always fall back on that. And that's where I want Eye of Iris to become the new convenience. You know, I don't want you to buy 5 pairs of jeans, try them all on and find out that you don't like any of them. Sorry, excuse me. I want this brand to be tailored to you and what you need. And that might change as this brand grows, because already since I was 18 and being 22 now, the idea's changed massively. And you know, as the time goes on, I'll continue to change this idea until I feel like it's there. You know, it's an ongoing journey, and that's what I love, because a year ago I'm not the same person I am now. You know, we all change, but change for the better sometimes. Okay, what is my biggest struggle? I would say my biggest struggle is my mental health. It's something I've tried to push myself to be open with. I started a blog when I was in my late first year, I think. And to be honest, it hasn't grown much, because the problem is when you write about mental health, it's very then and there. There and then even, oh God. It's very there and then. It's not a future thing. You can propose what your future mental health is going to look like, but the chances are it's not going to look like that unless you really manifest and meditate, I think, and really highly prioritize it. But I don't think it'll be that. You know, I started to write because I needed an outlet, and I started writing thinking, oh, I quite enjoy this, which was something I was never expecting. So I started to write, and I just wrote exactly how I felt. And when I would write, half the time I would be writing crying, like really, really crying, you know, snobs and all. I just, I was trying to write from truth, because I needed to be truthful with myself, because people would be able to see straight away if it was real or if it was not. I think that's something I really want integrated into this brand idea, is to be as truthful with yourself and to prioritize body equality, to prioritize race equality, gender equality, you know, yeah, it's not about isolating people. That's the one thing I don't want to do. We're already isolated. You know, we don't need to diminish our mental health even more by fearing what we don't know as people. Yeah, I think everyone struggles with their mental health, and I think this pandemic has been eye-opening for me, definitely. You know, I haven't spent this much time with myself since I was a kid, and that was traumatic in itself. You know, there's things you intentionally forget, and there's things that come back up, and it's learning how to deal with them without drinking, of course. But yeah, for me, mental health has been the biggest thing, and I would say substance abuse in the nicest way. I used to drink a lot, and I don't now. I know what drinking feels like, I know what a hangover feels like, and they both feel weird now that I don't do it. You know, if I have a drink now and I start to feel a bit tipsy, I'm like, where's the water? I need to grab it straight away. It's just, I can't cope with it anymore. And I'm glad, because it saves me so much money. But yeah, I mean, for anyone going through things like that, I want this to be a platform that you can just openly talk about it, because I don't like judging people. I mean, I always judge myself. That comes with the struggles of this whole journey. But I want people to celebrate themselves, and I want people to celebrate other people, you know, and I definitely want this to become a platform that's openly known for that. You know, working with different organisations is like the top thing on my list come actual launch and setup. So yeah, that is definitely top of my list. Future growth for my future self even. Where do I see myself in a year's time? Oh God, I always think these questions. It's great for goals and, you know, what you want to see yourself do. I literally will start every year, and I think by the end of the year I want to learn a new language, and that was my goal last year. And I did learn a lot of, I want to learn Spanish, and I did learn a lot, but I still didn't learn the language because everything else kind of overthrew me, and it didn't become a priority. I think it's great at New Year's when you set new goals and new aspirations, but literally by the end of the year my goals have changed so much, and that's completely fine. But I suppose the answer to the question, where do I see myself in a year's time? Hopefully not in a coffin, to be quite dark and bleak. This pandemic has just overruled so much, and I really hope for my own sake and for my friends and families and for everyone else in that matter, that they aren't hit as further than they need to be. I couldn't even say that. I hope that people don't suffer any more than they have to because of this pandemic. It's just been an absolute shit show, to say the least. I don't want people to suffer more and to go through more heartache than they need to, because people just don't deserve it. In a year's time, my biggest thing is I probably would have graduated, been in university for 4 years, so that will be a huge, just like, thank you. I managed to get through it. Hasn't been the biggest challenge, but I think it's been the most mentally demanding one, aside from my mental health, because it just takes you for an absolute roller coaster, doesn't it? You go through 10 years of change from 10 to 20. You know, you go from a kid to a teenager to a young adult, all in 10 years. You go from routine to structure to waking up every day the same time, having same timetable every week, to then having nothing, unstructured, lectures when, you know, you want to show up to them, and a job that you pick up because you need work, and the shifts can either rotate or you're in a job placement that you don't really enjoy, and that, I honestly know how bad that is. I left a job because it was just the most toxic place. And I didn't realise how toxic it was when I worked there, but I think in a year's time, I know that I wouldn't want to be in a position like that again. I don't think I'd ever put myself in that position. That was a big lesson learned. And even though sacrifices need to be made, sometimes money is not the be all and end all in any situation. So I don't think in a year's time that I'd be looking for wealth. I think in a year's time, oh God, I think in a year's time I would like to be happy. I'm gonna go because I have a meeting.